Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Saturday, December 14th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Tennessee game is in 7 days. The game against Michigan in 350 days. When that Tennessee game rolls around, it should be one of the most unique atmospheres in the history of Ohio Stadium. First December game inside the Horseshoe. First December night game inside the Horseshoe. First meaningful night game of the season inside the Horseshoe. Sorry, Western Michigan. Going to be a lot of excitement. Might be a lot of Tennessee fans there as well. But what is the atmosphere inside Ohio Stadium actually going to be like? Going to be talking about that with Buckeye Huddle's Tony Gerdeman in just a minute. But first, I want to play you a clip from an interview earlier this week. This is from Tennessee safety Andre Turrentine. He has a little bit of a unique perspective on this game because, of course, he started his college career as an Ohio State safety, played with the Buckeyes for one season in 2021 before transferring to play for the Vols. He was asked about what he expected in terms of the atmosphere inside Ohio Stadium for the game.
The shoe isn't as loud as the SEC. It's a different animal here. Whether you're at South Carolina at nighttime, or whether you're at Arkansas at nighttime, whether you're in Neyland at nighttime, or the daytime for that matter, is loud here. You really can't. It's deafening. I would say the shoe is the same way. They have really diehard fans that are prepared to make enough noise to that team that they need to. So I would say that the SEC is a little bit louder, but the shoe brings it as well.
All right, so there you go. Let you hear the whole quote there because there was plenty to it, and sort of brought it back around and gave Ohio Stadium some credit there at the end. But the shoe isn't as loud as the SEC. It's a different animal here. Boy, I think Tony Gerdeman. I think Buckeye fans might think them's fighting words.
They should. You would hope they would take that personally, and they'll have plenty of time to prepare to get loud for that game. And it's the biggest game of the year. There's no reason not to be loud for it. You've been challenged. Fans have been clamoring for a night game all year long. They've been complaining about the noon games because I guess they can't get loud enough at the noon games. And so, hey, you want a game that you can get loud at, this would be the one. And you've been challenged and you've been called up front to the rest of the classroom. Let's see your project. Let's hear the book report. Let's see what you've got. But I will also say, like, the SEC, the crowds in the SEC are pretty legit. And I think a lot of that is also because they play a lot of night games as well. If Ohio State got to play meaningful night games, then there would be a better, they'd have a better reputation. The shoe would have a better reputation than, all these noon games. And also, I don't know that Fox has necessarily mic'd the crowd as well as ESPN and CBS have done over the years, where they really bring you to the environment. Whereas with Fox, the environment is more about, I guess, the broadcast and the people doing the broadcasting and, of course, the commercials. And you've got to turn the crowd down when you're doing the commercials.
So if I understood your book report there correctly, your conclusion was that Ohio Stadium is a land of contrasts. All right, so we will we'll take that. I'll get you your grade later on that one. I think this is an interesting game because this is one where sometimes the crowd, it's like, it's a loud environment. Okay, this could be a game where the crowd has a legitimate impact though, because we've watched 3 different Tennessee games already. For the Buckeye Weekly podcast, we watched the Tennessee-Alabama game, the Tennessee-Georgia game, and the Tennessee-Arkansas game. And when Tennessee was playing in Neyland Stadium with the crowd on their side, the offensive line looked pretty good. When Tennessee was playing in Athens or playing in Fayetteville and the crowd was loud, we saw some communication issues, some false starts. Now, that's not unique by any means. Ohio State's offensive line had some challenges playing on the road in loud environments this year, and so does just about everyone else. But this does feel like a game where if you can make Tennessee have to go to a silent count, if you can force a false start, you can force a delay of game, force some communication issues, this is one where the crowd could potentially have a pretty significant impact.
100%. Forcing an offensive line to go to a silent count is a win for the crowd. This is an opportunity for them to impact the game. And we just came off watching the loss to Arkansas for Tennessee, and that crowd absolutely impacted that game. The crowd gets loud enough, and your tackles, the Tennessee tackles, look like redshirt freshmen in their first big start. And we saw Nico Iamaleava at the end of the game get hit with a snap because he wasn't necessarily ready, and that could have been a disaster for them. So yeah, the crowd can absolutely impact the game. Anytime you can throw off the timing or change the operation of the snap and the offensive line, where you've got a guard that is looking back and is then tapping the center, and then you've got all of this motion going on, you create more moving parts for the offense, and you create more opportunities for them to not fire off as ideally as they would like. So this is an opportunity for the crowd to really get involved, make their impact. It's what they've been asking for. It's what they've been begging for. It's what they've been complaining to. This is what they've been adding Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt for. This is what you have been getting blocked on Twitter for, So I would expect for the 75,000 Ohio State fans to drown out the 30,000 Tennessee fans who have purchased 27,000 tickets from Ohio State fans.
All numbers approximate, of course. Ohio State has been begging fans to get loud for the last couple of home games. The Indiana game, the Michigan game, the stadium got very, very loud for both of those games. But Ohio State put players and coaches up on the scoreboard talking during midweek interviews about the importance of being loud. And, we need the Horseshoe to be the loudest stadium in the nation and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to have the opportunity to do that during this game next Saturday, because the way this works, yes, it's a home game for Ohio State. Yes, Ohio State has the majority of the tickets. Yes, they get to stay on their own campus and Tennessee has to fly and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a home game, except it's kind of like when you have the NCAA tournament, and the NCAA tournament, you might have it on a campus site, but Tony, you don't get to drink out of regular cups. No, you have to drink out of the NCAA cups. Those are the rules, because it's not a home game for some team. This is a NCAA tournament game. And this is kind of how the game is going to be run as well for this game next week. It's not going to be Ohio State putting their stuff up on the scoreboard and, here's Brutus and find the key under the right Brutus helmet, or, running the usual contests and who's got the craziest haircut and all that nonsense. It's going to be a college football playoff show where there's going to be a Tennessee hype video that plays before this game, just like there's going to be an Ohio State hype video.
Yeah, it's a neutral site in terms of the scoreboard operations and the bands, basically. And it's the college football playoff branding that rules it all. And you mentioned the NCAA tournament thing. And just so people know, like if you're covering the NCAA tournament, say the men's basketball tournament, and you're sitting courtside as a media member and you go to the media room and you grab a Diet Coke, you can't have that Coke out there. You can't have that can out there because Coca-Cola is not paying to have their can on the screen. So you have to pour it into a plastic cup that says NCAA on it, and you can't have certain branding out there because, hey, they didn't pay CBS and Turner. They didn't pay the NCAA for this. So, drop that brand right there, sir. And so that's kind of what you'll see here as well with that. And college football playoff takes control. They get the scoreboard, and, perhaps, Tom, they will add a kiss cam, because I think that's something that has been missing from Ohio Stadium.
But you may only kiss someone if they are truly an NCAA corporate champion. Those are the rules. I don't make the rules, Tony. Those are the rules. I think one of the things that's sort of interesting around the conversation around this game is, what is the Ohio State fan base's approach, mood, whatever, going to be heading into this game? Kirk Herbstreit on the selection show rather famously said that, maybe Ohio State would be better off playing this game in Neyland Stadium because, what if they get off to a slow start and the fans boo? I have watched teams play in Neyland Stadium that does not look like they are having a good time. So no, I do not think that would in fact be better for Ohio State. But what is a reasonable expectation for this atmosphere? What is a reasonable expectation for the division of the crowd? There's been plenty of talk about, Tennessee fans are going to take over the stadium, and it's like, I watched the Georgia Notre Dame game in South Bend a few years ago, and that's what taking over the stadium looks like. I'm not expecting anything close to that for this one. It's also going to be a scarlet out, and so the orange is going to probably blend in pretty nicely with the red in the crowd anyway. But how hostile an environment can Ohio State stir up in this game? Are they going to be able to? Or is Tennessee fans going to be able to neutralize this or not?
That's a good question, because I think Tennessee is happier to be in this situation than Ohio State fans are. Tennessee fans are happier than than Ohio State fans. And so, I think Ross Bjork has come out asking Ohio State, the season ticket holders and ticket holders to, hey, whatever you do, don't sell your tickets to Tennessee fans. And the visiting schools have all been allocated 3,500 tickets for this game. And so that's, 100,000 tickets for the Ohio State fans and the season ticket holders. And Tennessee is going to get some of those for sure. The resale market is what it is. The ticket prices are already high. And so if I can pay for my 2 tickets by grabbing 4 other tickets and then selling them and doubling the price, and now I've paid for all of my purchases, I think you're going to see a lot of people doing that, trying to do that. And, the fact that Ross Bjork had to come out and say, hey, please don't sell these to Tennessee fans tells you that it's already going on. And so I don't know, what is 15,000? That's not a takeover, but that's more than you're ever going to see at Ohio Stadium from an opposing fan base. But this is also unlike anything we've ever had. It's a playoff game. So you would hope that Ohio State fans would want to be part of it and would want to not let Tennessee fans be part of it, but also good luck keeping rabid opposing fans out of your stadium. It's hard to do. Everywhere we go, we see Ohio State fans. We saw some really loud Ohio State fans out in Eugene, and they were able to be heard when things were going well. So I fully expect Tennessee to travel well. It's a drive. And so I don't know, 15,000 seems way high, but
yeah. And 15,000 would be a lot, but it's also not going to materially impact the ability for the Ohio State fans to make noise. 15,000 would be a great showing for Tennessee. Even 20 seems crazy high, but even then you have 85,000 Ohio State fans in there. So, if Ohio State can control the line of scrimmage, Tony, this game will in fact mostly be won in the line of scrimmages, as you may or may not be aware. And if Ohio State gives their fans plenty to cheer about, well, guess what? Their fans will probably cheer. So will be a great game one way or the other. We're looking forward to it. Historic night inside Ohio Stadium. First home playoff game in Ohio State history. First playoff game period in Tennessee history. Should be 2 fan bases very excited about that game. And with the winner going on to the Rose Bowl, something else everyone should be excited about as well. We'll probably talk about the Rose Bowl sometime later, but man, it is quite a high stakes game. Buckeyes and Volunteers, 8 versus 9 for the chance to play the top ranked Oregon Ducks. So we will have plenty of coverage coming up for you all week long in the lead up to that game. If you were a Tennessee fan watching this, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle, because we're going to have plenty of coverage of both the Vols and the Buckeyes. Have another rewatch show to do. So have to rewatch the Tennessee Vanderbilt game. We'll be doing that. And have plenty more coverage for you all week long, as we have interviews and all that kind of stuff. Pre-game show, post-game show, the whole shebang, all at youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle and BuckeyeHuddle.com. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.